Welcome or welcome back to Afropean Monica. Today is the 14th of February 2026. It has been exactly 1 year since my feet touched the Nigerian soil for the very first time. Yeah, there's...
You can't even say I just got back.
I can't. Today is the Valentine's Day. I was just reminded my love with Nigeria begins. The day is almost over. It was a very good day. Before it ends, I wanted to record my reflections on the past year since my Nigeria homecoming. And I really hope that you are going to join me for this celebration. It's an anniversary. So if you are new on this channel, let me give you just a little bit of context. My mom was Polish, my dad's Nigerian, and I was born in Poland. I live in London, UK. I've lived here for the past 20 years. I've been around the world, I've traveled a lot, but I had never been to Nigeria, which is my other country aside from Poland and the UK as well, of course, until exactly 1 year ago. The trip was really important for me. You could probably call it a kind of roots tourism journey, although I don't think that's what it was. I went to Lagos and that's where I spent 2 weeks. It was essentially about reclaiming part of my heritage. I have learned a lot about the country since then. Looking back, I have actually begun taking more interest in Nigeria when I received my first Nigerian passport as an adult. I felt like the country acknowledged my existence. So I felt I needed to return the favor and do the same. So I started intentionally learning more. I've been interested in Nigeria for a very long time, of course, but after I received my passport, my first Nigerian passport, it intensified and I became a lot more intentional, knowing that I was going to visit the country. I didn't want to visit Nigeria on a visa. I didn't want to go to Nigeria as a European, right? So it was really important for me to get the passport. Again, it was a process, a long process. Not that it had to be, but it just became that because of the system. But we're not going to get into that in this video. If you are interested, you can watch the other video that I made about getting my Nigerian passport, my first Nigerian passport. I wanted to go there as a Nigerian. It was really important to me to go to Nigeria as if I was going to my country, rather than just going there as if it was just my father's land. Today, I know a lot more about it than I knew just a year ago. I know a lot more about the country than I knew before I received my first Nigerian passport. But there are still many things I don't know. So don't even bother pointing that out. I mean, you can do that in a friendly way, but I already know that there are many things I still don't know. So I'm not trying to come on here and pretend to know it all. I'm still learning and I'll be learning for a very long time, but again, I'm willing to do so. On this note of pointing out how much I don't know, which some people love to do, Nigerians specifically, who grew up with their Nigerian family or maybe traveled to the country since they were born pretty much, or maybe they were even born in the country. Whenever they accuse me of not knowing enough, I tell those people what I told the guy at the embassy during my passport appointment, trying to quiz me about Nigeria, which is fair enough, but at some point he seemed to be enjoying the fact that I was a little bit flustered about whether Ondo was just a city or whether it was both a city and a state in Nigeria. I know it's a very basic question, but I just got a little bit flustered because he kept asking all these different questions and he was like, how can you not know this? When he was getting a little bit too excited about my lack of knowledge, I basically told him that if he has a problem with me not knowing, I can give him my father's number, mobile number, and he can give him a call and complain all he wants. I am not going to take responsibility for not having been exposed to the country as I should have been from a young age and only having to catch up as an adult, right? That's essentially what I say to anyone who tries to challenge me and say, well, how come you don't know this and that and something else? Having said that, these moments also encourage me or motivate me, I should say, to learn more. Back to the embassy. When I said it firmly, the embassy guy backed off immediately. I said it firmly but nicely. Like, I was not trying to get my passport denied or to be sent back because I don't know a thing or two, right? I was actually smiling. Maybe I even laughed a little bit as if it were a joke, but it really wasn't. I was dead serious, and I think he got the message. I just felt like I had to justify my belonging just a little bit too much, or maybe he was enjoying the fact that he knew more than me. It kind of felt like a teacher-student relationship for a brief moment, you know, and I don't think that's what it was meant to be. I mean, I had already had my application filled out. I don't exactly look Nigerian, but my application was legit. It was very easy to verify that I am Nigerian. So again, what made it a homecoming is the fact that I was going there as a Nigerian and not as a European. And not to mention that at the time when I was working towards getting the Nigerian passport, it was during the pandemic. Getting the visa was very difficult and it was very expensive, and it was just a lot more hassle. But mostly I wanted to have the passport, and I'm glad I got it. Yes, I am still happy that I have a Nigerian passport. And yes, I have seen videos online of Nigerians in the diaspora ripping their green passports apart the moment they receive the UK or maybe the American passport or something like that.
Nigeria is a failed state. Nigeria is a failed nation. I deny to be in Nigeria. Nigeria has failed its own people.
I have seen those videos and I understand your frustration with the country. I understand your anger. But if you want to express it by publicly tearing your passport into pieces, don't. I already have and already had one of the strongest passports globally currently, right? This changes, but the Polish passport is one of the strongest at the moment. I think it's sixth globally. But I still value my green Nigerian passport. One, it allowed me to go to Nigeria as a Nigerian. It also gives me access to ECOWAS territories. So on my Polish passport, if I want to go to Ghana or Togo or Ivory Coast, I'm going to have to get a visa. Having the Nigerian passport just make things a little easier, and I find it useful. So yes, if you are one of those Nigerians who is planning to maybe publicly tear your passport apart, if it triggers you, just lock it away and take it out when you need to use it. Another thing that should make you think twice is the difficulty that we go through getting those passports. My story is very specific. I got my first Nigerian passport as a grown-up in the diaspora. I didn't go to Nigeria, I did it here. You can watch the video if you are interested. But either way, just don't tear your passport apart. There's no point. Just lock it away if it triggers you and you'll be okay. Reflecting on the state of the country and that anger and frustration that makes Nigerians just express themselves in those ways about Nigeria, I know that there is a lot to be done in Nigeria. But one thing that I have learned since going to Lagos, which I did not know before, again, remember, I was born and brought up in Poland. If you want to watch a video about my growing up, mixed race in Poland, you can watch it on this channel. But yes, I was educated in Poland all the way through university. So I did not know anything about Nigeria. I knew very little about Africa. But when I was in Lagos, I went to the Lagos Museum. I shared that trip in my last Lagos vlog, which I posted not too long ago. One thing that I've learned is that Nigeria is a country that was created by the British. So the British essentially consolidated more than 250 different ethnic groups with different languages, different religions, different political systems. They consolidated all those groups into one country, which they named Nigeria. They did that to make it easier for themselves to manage this group of people that they colonized. After the British left, this newly created formation of people remained together. struggling forever to unify, which is the case until today. The guide at the museum said that it would be better probably for the country to separate it into regions at least. I'm not going to get into that because I am not an expert and I really don't want to reduce the challenges of Nigeria into a soundbite. But you cannot dismiss the argument that smaller or at least more culturally aligned countries might foster greater internal unity. Learning that Nigeria as we know it today was formed through British consolidation, bringing together hundreds of different ethnic groups by force under one administrative structure, was an important piece of information for me. But just to be clear, I am in no way using colonial history to justify any of the atrocities or suffering happening in Nigeria today. Nigerians deserve better, and I mean all Nigerians. When I talk about how the country was formed, it's not to excuse anything, it's to add context. This context brought more clarity and understanding to me. This whole unity thing, the lack of it is probably very comfortable for the leadership of the country because that is what enables them to keep wealth at the top. Everybody talks about Nigeria's corruption, but in this environment, the elites can consolidate the power, corruption blossoms, wealth stays at the top, and ordinary Nigerians are suffering and smiling, as Fela once sang. I feel like this is one of the most insightful things for me, learning that what created Nigeria was the amalgamation of all those different people that the British decided will be together as one. On this note of frustration towards Nigeria and publicly tearing your passport apart or just saying and doing things that indicate that you really are frustrated with the country, I do not do that on this channel. I mostly highlight the positive things about Nigeria and I just share my journey. But on certain occasions, you've heard me address issues or just navigate those issues as they were happening to me while I was in the country. And some of you criticized me for doing so. I do think my channel is balanced, or probably even more leaning to the positive side of Nigeria. But I also believe that balance is very important. I understand that the world is already criticizing Nigeria enough, and there is no reason for Nigerians in the diaspora to be doing the same thing, especially Nigerians like me who are newly acquainted with the country and all that. I get it, and I agree with you for the most part. But I also need to be responsible, especially on a channel like mine, speaking very often to people like me who might be considering visiting Nigeria or Africa. So just to expand on that a little bit, most of the people watching my channel come from the UK and the US. They are mostly in the 35 to 44 age group and older. And many of those people are from the diaspora considering visiting West Africa. I mean, I've posted about Ghana and Nigeria on this channel. Just to give you an example, there is this Scottish-Nigerian mixed race lady, Jean, who has been commenting on my videos. I believe she found my channel through my mixed race content or maybe the Nigeria homecoming content. I'm not sure, but she watches my videos and the lady is in her 70s. She commented on one of the videos telling me she is planning a trip to Lagos, Nigeria, her first trip to Lagos, Nigeria in March this year. And first of all, I'm inspired. It's so amazing that at this stage she wants to visit Nigeria for the first time. She has never been. And I'm inspired. I hope that when I get there, I will also be as open to doing things for the first time. I think that's beautiful. If you can do things, do them. Don't look at your age and all. She's an inspiration to me. It's just amazing. At the same time, I feel a responsibility towards her. The things that I say, the things that I show, I hope and I pray that she has trusted people that she's going with or going to. I really hope that she's going to have a great time in Lagos and comes back with great first impressions, right? What I'm about to say right now is more generic. It's not about Jean, because I don't know her circumstances, but the reason why I feel responsible to share certain things about West Africa specifically is because it is a very different landscape. And I'm talking about the issues right now and some of the challenges. What I am trying to say is that going to a place like Lagos, Nigeria, should not be done too spontaneously. I'm very spontaneous. I've traveled to places like Barcelona, Spain, spontaneously. I just got a ticket and went, or to other places, and that's fine. But like Lagos, Nigeria is not one of those places. The landscape is too different from what we are used to in the West, right? So if you are going to Nigeria, to Lagos, or anywhere else in Nigeria, from America or from the UK or anywhere else in Europe, right? And you have never been to Africa, please, please, please do your research. Have people there who can support you, who can guide you. Don't just go to Nigeria just like that. Unless you are a really experienced traveler and maybe you've been to other African countries, then that's fine. But generally, I would not recommend that. So yes, the reason why I share some of the challenges that you will face when you go to Nigeria and show certain issues on occasions is because I don't want people watching this channel to think that they can go to Lagos the way they go to Barcelona or the way they go to Paris or they come to London. You know what I mean? Like, prepare. It's a different world. There will be challenges there that you may not have ever met here on this side of the world. So yes, while you will probably never see me ripping my green passport apart on this channel, I also don't want to romanticize the country, right? I've moved beyond the honeymoon stage, and I feel like my content here should reflect not just the highlights. I'm not saying you shouldn't go. Honestly, I am not an advisor or anything like that. But at the same time, I don't want to misrepresent my experience. I really want people to do their research and prepare for what Africa holds. Apart from staying safe, come back with positive first impressions. I haven't been able to return to Lagos since last year, not yet. However, I think this is just the beginning. I really hope to make it back sometime this year. I don't exactly know when. Just the fact that I arrived there on the 14th of February last year, it's such an interesting date. I don't celebrate Valentine's. I don't really think it's a big deal, but it's just interesting. I did not pick the date intentionally. When I was buying the ticket, I just bought the first available ticket that made me feel like I would have done everything else that I needed to do where I was at the time, which I think was Ghana. But I did not pick the date for any intentional reason. I just picked it. It's just interesting to me that it was the 14th of February when I landed in Lagos for the very first time. It just feels like there is this passionate relationship with Nigeria incoming. I just wanted to celebrate my first time in Nigeria with you, some of the things that I have learned since I went to Lagos, since I got my first Nigerian passport. I hope you enjoyed my reflections. If you'd like to watch my visit, my homecoming journey, I have created a playlist that you can watch or rewatch if you like. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe for more. And if you'd like to stay connected beyond YouTube, join the Afropean Monica email list. You'll find the link in the video or channel description.